Hey everyone, JJ here. Welcome to another JJ Babbles. Um, this is something I hoped to do a video about this a while back, but just never happened. There was a bunch of news surrounding one of my favorite bands growing up, and very influential on me was Slipknot. And there was a lot of news surrounding them replacing Jay Weinberg, who replaced Joey Jordison. In the band, and Jay Weinberg was excused from the band, and there's a lot of talk surrounding Eloy Casagrande coming in, and incredible drummer. Eloy is, in my opinion, probably the best technical drummer in heavy metal. Like there's almost nothing he can't play, and his style is just ridiculous. Just a ridiculous, powerful drummer. I remember seeing him in Modern Drummer when he was like, 13 or something like that, and his ability was so far beyond what I could do at that point that it makes you feel like giving up almost. So, but I didn't really even want to talk about Eloy. I'm glad to see Slipknot still continuing on and bigger than ever and sounding better than ever. I do enjoy Eloy being in the band more than Jay Weinberg. It's no slight against Jay. Jay's a great drummer too, but there's just something with Eloy's playing that it adds a new solidity to the band, let's say. But straying from that point, what I really wanted to talk about was Joey Jordison, who obviously is the original drummer for Slipknot, and in my top 5 all-time influences, I would say. I'm not an old man, but I'm not a young man. So in the summer of 1999, I was 18 years old. I had already been playing drums for a number of years at that point, and I was still a fairly open book when it came to music and finding new genres. And that summer, if you were alive back then, was the summer of nu metal. Your Limp Bizkit, System of a Down, Korn. There was a lot of bands that I got into in my early teens that were really blowing up at that time. And so I'll never forget, it was the summer of 99. I was at my friend Craig's house, and Craig was always great. Craig, shout out to you if you check this video out, but Craig was always really good at being able to find new music and new bands. At that time, there was no internet to speak of to find new music, and so it was a lot of word of mouth. Sometimes one of your friends would have to take a chance and buy a CD, and it might be garbage, and sometimes you might strike gold. And as soon as Craig showed me the cover for the first Slipknot record, it felt like gold. At the very least, I felt like I was in for a wild ride, and I don't even know if that really covers it. We listened to the whole album. I immediately asked him if I could borrow it, and I made a copy of it. And for the rest of the summer of 1999, maybe even beyond that, I don't think I listened to anything else. I listened to that album non-stop. At the time, I was just starting to get into some other influences besides your mainstream rock stuff. So I had started to get into a little bit of like European black metal influences, Emperor, Satyricon, bands like that. And Slipknot, to my ears, was the first American band that really I checked out that had those same influences with a lot of the black metal, death metal, things like that. I'd never really gone too far in that genre until Slipknot opened that door for me. And when I heard what I heard, I was blown away. Just absolutely. Like the raw production, Ross Robinson, I loved the first Korn record. I loved some other records he's done. The name escapes me of some of the other ones he's done, but Casey Chaos was the singer of the band. It's gone anyways, but Ross, I always dug his production, and when I saw that he was involved with that record, it lent an extra layer of excitement to my first listen, and it was just so raw, and it was so wild. It was just unlike anything I'd ever heard. It's so dark, like you could feel like through the lyrics and the music, just like this, just dark. It just made me not feel great, but it was so intriguing at the same time that I wanted to keep listening to it. And the drumming was really unlike anything I had ever heard at that point. I was 18. I'd always been playing more straight ahead, and I'd never really gotten to the point where I had incorporated my hands and my feet into combination rules like quadruplets and triplets and things like that. Those things and those concepts I hadn't really gotten into much. But then when I started hearing Joey do those phrasings on that first Slipknot record, there was no video and I couldn't figure out what he was doing. And then one day it dawned on me that he was using combinations between hands and feet to get that sound. And that it just opened up an entirely new thought process for drumming for me, away from the straight ahead linear grooves and into more complex phrasings and just additional musicality into my drumming. And the influence of that it was life-changing for me. Just to hear that and to be exposed to that, to see Joey especially having a lot of the same influence as me, not being too far off in age from myself. He was a few years older, but to see a young guy like him being into a lot of the same music and just the way he spoke about music. And then when I found out how involved he was in the band, it was incredible. The band, for a lot of people, Joey is Slipknot and was Slipknot up until he passed away. And what an unfortunate loss, because it wasn't even just Slipknot. I'm a huge Murder Dolls fan. Vimic, the other bands, Scar the Martyr, all these projects that Joey was involved in. Vimic and Scar the Martyr kind of got a bit away from what I'm really kind of into, but the Murder Dolls was just like horror movies and gross out lyrics and being offensive and just a real punk rock attitude, and you could see the multitude of influences that Joey had, and the ability to play, maybe not perfectly, but he could play any instrument and you play any position in any band pretty much. And his performance, his showmanship, just everything I could take from that guy I did. As soon as videos started to become available of his playing, I just devoured that stuff. It's such a small amount of clips for how influential that guy is. I mean, if you look back in 2003 and 2004 when they put out the Volume 3 record right after Iowa, it's like the amount of drummers polls and awards and accolades that Joey was getting for his drumming. He's only at that time really rivaled by Travis Barker or maybe like Mike Portnoy or something like that. But yeah, just an incredible career. I was so insanely jealous that Joey got to play in Metallica. If you've never seen that clip, it's amazing to watch him play. He's up there and he's doing it exactly how I hoped. He's overplaying all over the place. He's having fun, and I loved seeing that for him. He said I was insanely jealous, but now as time has passed, like what a cool. I believe it's the only time Lars has ever missed a show, and to have somebody, be able to seize that opportunity and play that gig, what an amazing, on top of his own achievements, that's such a cool feather in his cap as well. And it just goes to show you how, how easily he could slide into musical situations and, just be the type of musician that can cover pretty much all the bases. Whatever you need him to do, he could do. He could produce records, he could mix records, produced other bands. 3 Inches of Blood, the record he did for them was fantastic. Amazing record. So yeah, his influence is pretty, it's pretty large for me. And it's such a shame that he died at such a young age. You know, he had a lot of years left of playing, and, you know, he unfortunately lost a lot of years with whatever his issue was with not being able to play. If it was something medical, I'm not really sure if it was ever discussed that much, but yeah, just you know, the outing from Slipknot was very unceremonious. I wish that he could have had a chance to come back to the band at least and have some kind of you know, a reunion or something like that to get a real swan song, if he was no longer going to be in the band or whatever. But it is what it is. It's how life goes. But yeah, the impact, it goes across the board. It's like, you know, just even cymbal sounds. And as soon as I saw he was playing Peisty Rudes, it was immediately I went to Peisty Rudes and swapped my setup. And, you know, I started playing similar equipment to him and a similar setup to him. Like his influence just, it came like a tornado into my life. And, you know, it's stuck with me, and it's always amazing to go back and revisit, you know, his material. And it's so much fun to listen to, and I hope if any of you haven't checked out his drumming, that you would take the time to check out any of the Slipknot stuff, you know, up until his departure from the band. I mean, the drumming on that stuff is incredible, but to me, that first Slipknot album, it's so wild. The drumming is just, it's so far out there, and, you know, he's like drum solos on it and unconventional things and sounds, and, you know, just this cracking high-pitched like piccolo snare drum that I'm pretty sure he probably, you know, got the idea from Korn, like, you know. But yeah, anybody that hasn't checked out Joey Jordison, I encourage you to do it. I don't think you'll be disappointed, and hopefully you can take some kind of influence from him, as I did, and turn it into something cool. Thanks.